Good morning, class. Well, I hope you're excited about hearing the next chapter in A Question of Yams. Chapter 5 is titled Too Dry. Interesting, because they live in a jungle, a rain forest. Because we're doing this virtual, you get to have some bonus pictures as I read the story. So let's begin. First, let's review what was going on before in chapter 4. I'll just read the last few paragraphs for you. It says, his mother jumped up to get some stinging nettles. Remember those weeds that really burn your skin. But even when she rubbed the green plants across his feet, Curry could feel nothing. He wanted to ask if he were going to die, but he was too tired to say the words. He gazed at Father's face. It was calm, just as it had been when he faced the headmen. Curry thought about Sekoso's threats and the headmen's wicked plans. Father is wise to trust in the mighty God, he told himself, and he closed his eyes. So, remember that snake bite? Yeah, the one that's actually causing his body to die right now. So we're going to go ahead and see what happens. So, chapter 5, Too Dry. Curry awoke with a jerk, wondering at the noise outside. It was as loud as thunder. Father stood in the doorway, looking off toward the mountains. But it wasn't thunder. It was the sound of a noisy bird that Joyce called a helicopter. The doctor must be coming. Before long, a white man was bending over him. Curry felt a prick in his arm, like the prick of a thorn. What do you guys think that was? Can't be another snake bite. Oh, if you guessed a shot, you are correct. The doctor stood up. That might do it, he said to Curry's father. The Lord sure answered prayer. He got us through those clouds. Guys, remember there was a storm coming? And if the storm came, the helicopter couldn't fly to the jungle. Father smiled. Then he glanced back at Curry. We have prayed, and God will do as he wishes. Thank you for coming to help. He went outside to the door with the doctor. I have some coconuts here for you, and I want to give some to the pilot of the helicopter also. So why do you guys think that he gave coconuts and didn't pay him? Well, in the jungle, you pay by trading goods. Remember, we learned about that in history. So Curry's father doesn't have money, but he has lots of coconuts and coconut trees. So he's paying the doctor with coconuts. The next time Curry opened his eyes, he felt much better. Soon he could leave his mat and sit in front of his house. He blinked at the sunlight. He could feel its warm rays seeping into the bones, making him strong. It's been weeks probably since he had come out of his hut, so I'm sure the light really felt good. One morning, as Curry sat in the sun, he saw that the ground was dry and cracked. Isn't this the rainy season, he thought? The sun had been shining for many days, too many days. What about the yams? They would die without the rain. Curry pulled himself to his feet. Father hadn't said much about the garden lately, but the Christians had been praying more than ever. He plodded down to see the yams. It seemed like a long way to go, and his breath was coming fast by the time he got there. The plants were still green, but the vines had not even spread across the mounds. Their curly ends seemed to be drooping, and their leaves were much too small. Curry sighed. The yams had to get some rain soon, or they would die. He dragged himself back up the path and slid to the ground in front of his house. He leaned back, closed his eyes against the hot sun. You can tell that Curry is still pretty weak from the snake bite, so he's got to take it easy. But you know how he feels about that garden. He really wants to make sure that it grows. Whoops, sorry, guys. Some women walked by, and he listened to their chatter. Their gardens were too dry. They were going to ask the headmen to make it rain. Well, we know what the headmen are going to do. Then he heard his father's cheerful voice, and it filled him with hope. He swallowed the dusty feeling in his throat. Maybe God would send rain. Maybe it wasn't too late for the yams. That night, the Christians came to pray again. After they left, Curry asked his father, "What about the yams? What if they die? Will you plant them the Christian way next time?" His father looked deep into Curry's eyes. God will do what he wants to about the rain. Perhaps he will give us a good crop of yams. Perhaps not. He is the mighty one. But even so, I will not go back to the old ways of praying to the spirits. He put a hand on Curry's shoulder. You know that the Christians prayed a lot when the snake bit you. We have prayed a lot for our gardens, and we have prayed for the headmen too. Curry nodded, remembering that Dad had done that. We learned some good things while we were talking to God, Father went on, and we have grown stronger in our hearts. I would rather know God than have 10 houses that are filled with yams. Curry, after thinking about what Father said, he started feeling something move in his heart, as if a tiny green shoot were pushing up through the crusted earth. He looked at his father and thought, a God who can make hearts strong is mighty indeed. Father, he mumbled, I want to know God too. Wow, guys. Remember how Curry had been going back and forth trying to figure out, does he believe in Father's God, the true God, or does he still hold on to believing in the spirits, like the headmen scaring people into feeling like they have to pray and worship them? So it sounds like God is working in Curry's heart right now. Curry's father's eyes gleamed. I have learned about God from the talk in his carvings. Do you guys remember what God's carving is? The Bible. Anne and Joyce have helped me to understand it. Tomorrow, we will go and see them and talk to them. And that's the end of chapter 5. So it sounds like good news for Curry, and it sounds like also Curry's father is so excited for his desire to know more about God and to have that little sprout growing in his heart. So tune in next time to chapter 6, which is called God's Carving. All right, now it's time for us to get out our blue Bible packet, and we're going to turn to our workbook page. So that workbook page is page 249. So pause the video while you get your packet. Okay, so here's what you're going to do on page 249. It says, write the correct number in each circle to tell the story in order. So if you notice the little circles before each sentence, and then you're going to number them, 1 through 5. And the picture helps you see what's going on, but also the sentence underneath will give you more details about what's going on in the picture. All right, well, I'll see you next time at Bible.